Obviously, you know all of what's been going on, but we've not heard your thoughts on some of the latest transfers. The panel have all given what they think, and we'd like to know what you make of Raphael Varane going to Manchester United, and if this now makes them title contenders, and if it doesn't, how far off are they?
Well, I think it's going to be a great combination, Varane and Maguire. Maguire's the player that can come out with the ball. Varane's got that pace to run in behind Maguire. I don't think he always reads the danger quite quickly enough. We saw that with France in the European Championships. But he's been a top-class player for many years now, both for France, for Real Madrid. And he's obviously a better player than Lindelof is. So I think he's going to be a massive improvement for Manchester United. And I think that Manchester United will be a better team this year. I'm not sure they're going to win the title, but they'll be closer to it with Varane in their side.
And what do they need then to win the title? How far off are they?
I still think they need to dominate midfield, which they haven't done so far in the last couple of seasons. They've got to be more consistent. When teams drop that little bit deeper and stay compact, they've got to find ways to play it into the front players. The front players, I think, have got to be more clever, particularly the wide players, how they receive the ball and where they receive it. And most of all, the manager's got to be more clever when teams just sit back and try and defend and make it difficult for them. But Manchester United have got some good players now. They've got so many forwards and wide players that can go past people. They've just got to be more clever in and around the box.
Well, you mentioned the manager. Everyone has agreed here on the panel that a 3-year contract was not needed. He's not a threat to leave Manchester United. You've not been the biggest fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Has he proved you wrong at all, Robbo?
I think what he is, he's a bit like Gareth Southgate. I think he's a good man manager of the players. I think he manages the press quite well. He manages the board quite well. I don't think he's a top-class coach, and I don't think he's got anybody on his backroom staff that is a top-class coach. And we've seen that in several games when they've needed something to change. They've needed to come up with a different formula. They need to get it into the front players with more quality and get the front players making forward runs. He hasn't come out and recognised the danger, or hasn't seen what can be done. And that would be my question mark against him. Is he a top-class coach? He's probably a decent manager. He needs to be a much better coach or get someone in alongside him.
All right. Well, Shaka, we've got a question for you about centre-back pairings. Now that it's going to be Varane and Maguire, we'd like to know if you would rather be behind Varane and Maguire, Stones and Diaz, or Van Dijk and Joe Gomez.
Oh, geez, that's.
Well, the best question is to ask those three pairings if they'd rather have Shaka in goal or not.
We asked them. They would all.
Oh, they declined.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, moving on from Ali, I'm going to go Stones and Diaz. Van Dijk, out of the 6 you've mentioned, at his best, is the best of the 6. But just Gomez still a little bit of an unproven quantity there. But you see what Stones and Diaz, how good they can be together. You see the impact that Diaz had on Stones and his own self-confidence and the performances that he produced, not just for Manchester City, but then for England. So given those three, I'm going to go for the Man City duo.
We can spin this and ask you who you'd least like to go up against.
Let me just make it very clear that they all would love to go against me. Let's get that out of the way. I would say I would rather go against Van Dijk and Gomez than the other two. We don't know what the recovery of Virgil van Dijk is going to be like. We don't know how long it's going to take for him to be the player that he once was. And we also don't know about Joe Gomez because he also has injury issues. And so therefore, I think there is more uncertainty and more questions there than there are in the other two.
So who's the best pairing of the three?
I'm with Shaka. John Stones and Diaz simply because it's a known quantity. On paper, Harry Maguire and Varane will be excellent, and you would imagine that they are both going to make each other better, but we still have to see it out on the field. We know what exactly is the product of Stones and Diaz, and it has been dominant for Manchester City.
Robbo, who would you go for of the three?
I agree with both guys. I mean, you'd go with Stones and Diaz because, again, on paper, as Ali said, Varane and Maguire could be a great pairing. But we haven't seen them play together yet. You know, they might have they might not get on. They might have a misunderstanding between them. The coach might not get the best out of them. Whether they squeeze up, drop off. So I'm going to go with Stones and Diaz as well.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.